Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1. Well, hello tubers, hope you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy YouTube universe. Now, I know I'm not a channel that actually talks about cameras and camera equipment. It's not really my forte, but I do own a lot of Canon cameras, and I've encountered this problem for years with many Canon products as they get older. And I've discovered a little hack, a little fix. And if I can help one or two of you out there that it discovers or owns one of these types of cameras, it might actually solve a problem for you and save you some money. Because over the years, I've pretty much exclusively owned Canon cameras. Yeah, I do have a used GoPro that I use, and I've got another underwater camera that I rarely use. But over the years, I've owned a lot of these Canon cameras. Now, this is a PowerShot SX40. I've owned several of these. They also make the, I believe, the SX35 and the SX50. They're a really good point and shoot camera. I don't use it for stills much. I use it for video. And I've actually made probably thousands of dollars with selling stock production videos, even on this camera, even though I own better equipment like Canon DSLRs with various lenses that I've made even more money. But for point and shoot, man, this camera has gone to Europe, it's gone to New Zealand, it's gone to Palm Springs, Hawaii. And I was hoping to take it where I'm going in a few days, but for the last few months, it wouldn't power up. And it's happened to many of these cameras. It's also happened to the Canon Vixia series. I've owned many of them, 2 or 3 of those too, like the Canon Vixia HF200. I love that camera. I still own them, but they won't power on. What happens is one day you have one of these cameras. I think this one actually I bought at a pawn shop, even though I've owned this model brand new, and it also quit working, I believe. So what happens is one day you just put the battery in and it won't power on. You get nothing. And then I realized after I'd leave the battery sitting for a couple months and I'd put it in and then I'd turn it on and it would work. It would actually turn on. And what happens is it looks like it's a charging issue, because I've even bought brand new replacement batteries. Like right now I've got a brand new battery in here. It's not the Canon one. I know you're gonna bitch that it's not official Canon camera equipment, but what happens is it just won't power on. Just like right now, it's not doing it. Now, what you got to do to make it power on is one of two things. You can just put the battery in, close the door, and turn the play button on, and it'll power on. Now, it won't work, but what it does is it puts a load on the battery, because the circuitry seems to be detecting an overcharge, and it won't power on. Now, what you do is you charge up the battery, it won't turn on, push this button, and let it turn on. I think within 10 minutes it'll turn off. Do that a couple times till the voltage is low enough, and it'll just power on naturally, like right now. See how it just did that? It's working just fine. Another way that I've also discovered, here I'll turn it off, is if you hold the power on button, hold it down and pop out the battery, push it in while you're holding the power on button, close it, and it will power on. Both systems have worked. Let me repeat that. First of all, if it just won't power on at all, it's detecting some sort of an overcharge problem. Just, here, let me turn it off. Push that button there. It'll come on. It's not usable. It'll say no image, as you're seeing right there. But it'll put a bit of a load on the battery, and it'll bring the voltage down so that whatever over voltage circuit protection that's in the camera, it'll use up a little bit of the power, bring the voltage down, so you can turn it off again, and turn it on, and it will just work just fine. As you can see, images are working just fine right on the display. So I was hoping to take this damn thing to my next little vacation that I'm going on in a couple days. And I also looked at the prices of replacement equivalents by Canon, and the price of these things have gone up incredibly. Yeah. And you're going to see some of these in pawn shops, and you're not going to be sure. Or you might even find some broken ones that have this problem. Well, guess what? The problem isn't really much of a problem if you know how to deal with it. As long as the lens isn't even scratched, it's a good camera. Only thing I don't like is it doesn't have a built-in auxiliary microphone where I can plug that in. It's got a built-in stereo mic. So if it's a bit windy, it might cause a little bit of problems. But this is a great camera, and I believe the optical zoom on this thing is 35 or 40 times. It's crazy. I mean, you can, here, I'll show you how this lens can extend out big time. Yeah. Very versatile for vlogging or scenery, whatever. It's a great camera, built-in flash. I know this is a little worse for wear, because literally this camera has been in my bag and flown thousands of miles around the world, but it still works. And I thought it was done, just like a lot of my Canon Vixias I thought were done. I bet you if I do the same thing with the Vixia, it's the same overcharge problem. You could always try a new charger. That might solve the problem, but even if it doesn't, just do like I do. Hold that power button down, put the battery in slowly as you do it, close the door, and it will work. Or, failing that, just like I said earlier, push this button here, the play button. It'll power on, but it won't work, but it'll put enough load on the battery to bring the overcharge voltage down. Hope it works for you. It's worked for me. I actually got this tip online on a vlog for Canon Cameras. So, hey, worth a try. Now, sometimes you can pick these up in pawn shops dirt cheap. And compared to the new price of a mirrorless camera or even a DSLR, man, they've sure gone up in price. And you can get a lot out of them, especially if you buy some good software where you can sharpen the images and color correct things. Man, I've gotten some beautiful work out of this camera over the years with some software. All it takes is a little bit of effort, a little bit of know-how, and you too can get a lot out of one of these cameras. So, hope that helps. Put your comments down below if you have a PowerShot or any other Canon camera or a Vixia series camera with this problem, because it seems to be a very common problem as these cameras age. Oh, and if it's not even that, make sure the contacts are clear and you don't have a leaky battery or something else. But yeah, that's about it. Keep your wheels in the ground. I'll talk to you soon. Over and out.
I got you, I got you.